Hello everyone, glad that you're here. I hope that your Christmas season is already feeling festive. I have a few things. My dad is an author and you can get his books on Amazon, and here's 3 of them. I have like 4 or 5 waiting on me to get on there, to put on there. I've got that to talk about in just a second. My dad's books that he has authored, and you can get them on Amazon. And I wanted to interview him for you, but I haven't gotten over there to do it. He's actually, his hand he's hurt his hand somehow, and he has neck issues where the nerves in his hands don't work very well, and see, he's got a lot of pain in his hand now. So he can't even write. So he may I hope that this is short-lived. He's going to the doctor. He went to the doctor today for a regular visit. So hopefully they saw to that to see if he has broke anything or if he's hurt anything in his hand. We certainly don't want him to stop writing books. He's 78, I think, this year. And his first book is called Call of the Dove. And Call of the Dove is a drama / mystery, murder mystery, set post-Civil War. Okay? It's a woman from up north whose daddy acquired, I won't say how, he acquired the deed to a southern plantation. And I can't, it's very, very, one of these page turners, you know, just something happening all the time. It's not much time to get bored in his books. He's a great storyteller, my dad is. And so I'm going to read you the little description on the back here. Call of the Dove by Jim Wade Smith. Upon the death of her father, Kelly Ryman learns through family lawyers that she, along with the family fortune, inherited the deed to a southern plantation. Little does she suspect that for some people the Civil War isn't over. Rather than sell the mansion, she falls in love with it. She decides to restore the old plantation. This precipitates danger of life and death, intrigue, and even terrifying encounters with ghostly apparitions. The sparks also fly when she falls in love with the son of Colonel Claiborne, former owner of the estate. It is the Civil War all over again between Kelly, a rich little Yankee, and Lucas Claiborne, a Southern cavalry officer. Now that's what this book is about. She's traveling down, her and her brother, having to deal with their father's will and all that stuff. He says she's traveling down from the north to see this plantation with all the means of selling it. She has no real reason why she should keep it. It's just right after the Civil War, so there's a lot of tension and things like that. But she finds something out that she has to investigate a little further, and things just ain't seeming right. So this right here is the book that you want to read if you like stuff like that. There's no smut in my dad's books. He is a Christian, born-again Christian. He is not going to put any nasty smut, curse words. There may be some southern lingo in there that is not curse words per se, but appropriate for the time and appropriate for a villain to say. Okay, so by no means, he's not, I mean, everything is great. I mean, there's no problems with it as far as offensive to someone or whatever. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. This is his very first book that he had published, and he is so excited. He had it when it was published when he was 74, I do believe. Just a few years ago. Don't ask me to do math. You know how I am about the math when I'm trying to figure something out. Y'all watch me be just harebrained. But anyways, Call of the Dove is it's a romance, but it has all the intrigue of all the other types of dramas and everything. So I'm going to read you the very first page or so and see how you like it. Okay? Chapter 1, The Deed. Father! I watched in shock and breathless fear as his face turned blue. Only a moment ago he had been laughing. Then he swayed and fell directly forward into the dining table. Wine glasses shattered, their stems making little pops of sound. Someone screamed. It wasn't me. I was mesmerized in terror. Then cold dread gave way to hysterical action. I lunged forward and began to pull vainly at his heavy form. Daddy! The more childish name came bursting from my lips, again and again. Many arms pulled me away despite my Herculean efforts to reach my father. Some of the male guests lifted him from the table and lowered him gently to the floor. My younger brother, Franklin, was among them, his face ashen. Dad! Sir! He pleaded with his father. Someone get the doctor. He's in the library, being held firmly until the doctor arrived. I heard the words, massive heart attack. He's gone. I tore myself from the clutching hands and rushed to my father. I called his name and kissed the poor closed eyes. Daddy, please, oh God, please. Franklin looked at me with tears in his eyes while I kept repeating, don't go, Daddy. Please don't. Don't leave me alone. Please don't. Oh God, come back. People tried to pull me away, only to recoil in amazement at the fire in my eyes. No, don't you dare. You're trying to take my daddy away. I'll kill you. Get away. The doctor ushered the guests from the room. You'll have to forgive Miss Ryman. She's beside herself with grief, you know. She and her father was very close, poor girl. Quite tragic. Oh, yes, quite tragic. A while later, I remember Franklin stroking my hair and pleading, please, sis, please. I need your help. I need you to help me. We have to look after Dad now. Do you understand me? We have to let the doctor clean him up. Come on, Kel. You'll have to get up. His pleading finally reached me. I slowly rose and numbly walked away with him. My world was destroyed. Dad. Gone. The thought was numbing. Then I began to cry while Franklin held me. So, that's just the very first part. Very first page and a half of my dad's book, Call of the Dove. And it goes on from there to see what all transpires. And I think you'll enjoy it. Please leave a comment down below if you get this book and read it. And please tell me what you think about it. It would be wonderful. I know we are all into diamond painting. But, you know, sometimes we get tired and we would like to read and have a little bit of a break from it. So there's the first book, Call of the Dove. Okay, the next one is my favorite. Now, I love that one, but this one, I'm going to take the bookmark out. I'm funny about, you know, I love my Gone with the Wind, Wuthering Heights, things like that. Love that. I love to read Jane Eyre, the Bronte sisters books, all of the, all the classics, Dickens and Austen and all of those. That, if you like those kind, you'll love The Call of the Dove. Call of the Dove. And if you look it up on Amazon, it's Call of the Dove by Jim Wade, W-A-D-E, Smith. The second book, my very favorite, because I just love horses. And I love, it's a Western, but it doesn't read, it reads like a Western, but it's not, it's for everybody. You don't have to like Westerns to like this book. I'm going to tell you right now, these two, all of his books could make a movie. You could see them in movies really easy. And again, there's no smut in this. This is called Rance Rainey, the Christmas Kid. And the reason he is named the Christmas Kid is he was an orphan. This boy was found, a young boy, little boy, found in the snow after, I believe it was in the snow, it was at Christmas time. And his mom and dad and family had been murdered by Indians. And so this the Rainey family, found him and raised him. And he felt like that, he was so young. This is like the Rainey family is his family. So it's really a really good book. There's pictures, let's see. Oh, well, it's the next one has more pictures in it. Let me see. There's a little stylized, like a cowboy hat. Let me see. This one doesn't have. Some people like pictures. Some people don't like to have pictures in them. At the end, I do have a picture of my dad in there. But there is another character in this book that is sort of a legend in the book. And it's the leopard Appaloosa. And it is kind of thick, but it reads really fast. Really into one thing next. It progresses very well through, has a great ending, no smut. You don't get bored with details. Just on and on with details. He has the lingo of a Western author. He grew up loving Louis L'Amour books. So it has a flavor of those type books if you like them. So I'm going to start out reading the first page and a half or so for you. And this is Rance Rainey, The Christmas Kid by Jim Wade Smith. It is available on Amazon. Chapter 1, At the School. Well, wait, before I do that, let's do the back bio thing, whatever you call that. Old Bill Rainey rode the Owl Hoot Trail until he met up with Elizabeth Jane. She turned his life around, married him, and bore him Jory Lee, their beautiful daughter. On Christmas Day, a discovery was made. Bill found a small boy, cold and crying in the snow by the barn. His parents were slain by Indians. At Bill's sudden tragic death, Rance, now a young teenager, must assume the mantle of protector for his adoptive family. An abusive schoolteacher, angry at Jory Lee's mother for spurning his advances, chose to beat Jory Lee. Rance's anger resulted in a death that sent Rance on the run to escape the wrath of the schoolteacher's brother, the sheriff. Now Rance rides the Owl Hoot Trail himself. He must put all the lessons taught him by his adopted father to the test. Is he fast enough with old Bill's Navy Colt? Will he be caught by the sheriff and hung, or will the Indians get to him first? What about his beloved Jory Lee? will he ever see her again, or his adopted family. Rance Rainey, The Christmas Kid, is an award-winning Western novel by Jim Wade Smith, author of the post-Civil War novel Call of the Dove. And you can see a picture on the back of it. And I'll show you the picture of the front a little better. It's snow with the shadow of a horse and rider. Yes, it is an award winner. My dad wrote this back when I was a little bitty girl. There was a Louis L'Amour book contest. And this book that he wrote got second place. And he never published it, never had the money. Never had the money to publish it. And big publishers wanted him to pay $2,000, $300,000 to publish his work. And so when Amazon come along, and I know a lot of guild writing clique guilds, in the county that we live in, they don't consider this a real author because it's not from a big name publisher. Okay, so they wouldn't let him join the guild. This book won second place in a Louis L'Amour book contest. That means Louis L'Amour himself read all of them. So, he liked it. Anyways, let me read you the very first of it, and if I have time, I'm 17 minutes in. Number 1, At the School. He was a real sorry man. About as sorry as they come was old man Periwinkle. He had no cause at all whipping Jory Lee that way just 'cause her ma had turned him down. Jory Lee's ma was widowed, and old man Periwinkle had tried to take advantage of the fact. But Elizabeth Jane Rainey was having none of it. I sat here in the dust beside the schoolhouse, and I grinned. Old Periwinkle had sure bit off more than he could chew that time. Libby had put the rollers under the varmint with that cap and ball coat of Bill Rainey's. He stepped mighty high and handsome when the 40 balls dusted his toes. It almost made me laugh right out loud just thinking about it. Libby was my adopted ma, and I was some proud of her. She was a lady, and I loved her. And if Bill had been alive, old Periwinkle wouldn't have dared to come sneaking round, grinning and winking at my ma. I wanted to whip him then and there, but Libby forbade me to do it. Just as soon as we get back on our feet, you'll be wanting to go back to school, son, and it won't do for you to be at odds with the teacher, she said. I don't care, I gritted through clenched teeth. Let me turn the page. I won't go back to school. You need me too much here on the ranch now that Pa's gone, so I'm gonna whip him. I was some mad at that schoolmaster, and I never liked him anyhow. I always had a bad temper, and sometimes something hot and fiery would come over me, and I'd just kind of go crazy mad for a while. Bill Rainey had seen it in me, and he'd look at me kind of funny, like he was real worried about me, and then he set me down by the creek and talked to me real serious-like. Son, you gotta learn to master that temper of yourn. If you don't, I'm afraid that someday it'll cause you a lot of trouble. You gotta master it or else it'll master you. Anything that you can't master is your master. Rance, he said real gentle-like. Well, I didn't say it real gentle-like, did I? Rance, I love you just like you were my own son. You've been a good boy, and I'm proud of you. I want you to promise me that you'll try to control that temper before you kill somebody, or maybe get killed. It would break Libby's heart if something like that was to happen, and I guess it would just about kill Jory Lee. She loves you, Rance, and not like a brother either. I've seen it in her, and I'm a heap pleased. I reckon I approve, but I'm not asking you how you feel. I'll let you make up your own mind about Jory Lee, but I reckon I know your mind already, and I'm not worried about it. Old Bill was real good to me, and I loved him, so he didn't have to ask me twice. I promised him then and there that I'd master the dark rages that laid hold on me, and I'd make all of them proud of me. I meant it, too. I reckon he told Libby about it, because when I started out to thrash the ground with old Periwinkle, she looked at me like I was a snake in the grass and said, "Reckon you're forgetting your promise." Well, that just about took the wind out of my sails. I felt the hot sting of tears in my eyes. I couldn't cry. I just couldn't cry, because it was a weakness in a man, and I was the man of the house now. I swallowed just as hard as I could, and the lump in my throat went away. "Now don't you worry any about old Periwinkle," Libby smiled at me and said. "I reckon I can handle his kind any day of the week, and then some." Then she got out that old gun of pa's and dusted the schoolmaster's breeches so close a gnat couldn't have flew between the bullets and the seat of his pants. I still wished I could have whipped him, but I guess it was worth it to see him run that way, all gawky and awkward like a crane out of water. Pa taught me to shoot with that old captain ball, and I got real good at it. Pa, I still get mixed up sometimes on what to call him, made me practice all the time. Any time, that is, that we could afford powder and lead. And in the end, he'd look at me kind of respectful like and said, "I reckon you're better with a handgun now than I ever was." That was all he said. But that was saying an all-fired lot. Old Bill was some shakes with a gun. Folks swore to it. He won all the shooting matches round this part of the country, and the people living round about cut their teeth on guns. The country was still an all-fired long way from being civilized, what with rustlers and such, but old Bill was gone now. I was feeling tears in my eyes again, and I had to blink them way fast. Ma was still wearing black, a mourning him. Just 10 days ago, old Bill had been alive. I don't know why folks called Pa Old Bill Rainey. He hadn't even reached 40 years old, but folks still called him Old Bill Rainey. I guess it was because he had a way of looking out of them black eyes of his that made you know that here was a man who had been over the mountain. He was a good man to ride the river with, as the saying goes. Boy, you figure out what's right and honest and honorable, and then you stand up for it so you'll never be ashamed to look a man in the eye. Bill taught me all that he knew, and I loved him just like he was my own pa. 10 days ago, he had been alive, but now he was dead. He was breaking in a new bronc, and the cinch strap broke. It just wasn't fair. For a man as good as Pa to be killed by a sorry rotten cinch strap. It wasn't fair at all. Pa's saddle was old and money was hard to come by in the Texas brush country. There was nothing but wild steers and cactus and heat that would fry a lizard before you could spit. Pa always repaired most everything when it broke, but I guess he waited just one day too long to fix that old saddle strap. Or maybe we was all out of cured leather. Anyway, you looked at it, Pa was gone, and it was up to me to protect Ma and Jory Lee. I had gone to school until Pa died, and just as soon as we were able to afford a hired man to help out, Ma said that I would be going back to school to catch up on my education. Old Bill and Libby set a lot of store by education and reading books and such. Not that I didn't like books or anything. I'd read Ivanhoe and parts of the Bible too, but most of them scriptures, as Pa called them, made a lot of sense when you thought about it, all except for the begets. I never could make sense out of those. I couldn't pronounce the names. They looked about a mile long to me. It read about like this: old so-and-so begat Ishmael, and Ishmael begat what's his name, and what's his name begat who was it, and who was it begat what you call him. And it just seemed to me like there was a whole lot of begetting going on, which was some confusing too. I'm going to stop there. He goes on a little bit more, kind of getting you into what's going on, the mood and the type of people they are, Old West, the morals, the things that they think, and then it gets right on in to what sends him on the run. I mean, it don't wait around. It does. My daddy is a storyteller. Got a great knack for writing books. And so if you can, pick this up. There's Indians in it. There's bad guys. There's shootouts. There's cattle drive. Things that will have you on the edge of your seat in this book. And it's got a great ending. So look up Rance Rainey, The Christmas Kid by Jim Wade Smith on Amazon. And I'll put the links to these books in the details below. The last one, and not the final book of my dad, let me also tell you, he has a prequel to this one about the characters in here. The man she falls in love with, let's just say. He has a prequel of that guy going through the Civil War with his horse and everything. So, yeah, this one's, I've got to get that one on there too. He's got another Western coming. It's a Spanish one where, I think I got that sticky stuff on here. The little grandbaby's got the sticky stuff. I think it was apple suckers. And I'm finding it every now and then. He has another Western that will be the next one that I put in print for him on Amazon. Edit it for him. I'm not a professional editor. There may be mistakes in these books, but they are set up the way they should be. The first one has a little bit more mistakes than the rest of them, but I was so anxious to get it on there for my dad, and I got it on there as good as I could. And you know, we're amateurs, but honey, you won't be able to tell the difference when you read the story. You'll be drawn in just like I was when I'm typing them out. He'll try to tell me the story as he's writing it when I go over and see him, and I'm like, Dad, no, don't tell me, because I have to read it. I read it as I type it out, and when you tell me about it, you ruin it for me, because it's like a surprise. So I didn't get finished with that Western one that he's got coming. It's actually got like a woman outlaw villain in it, and it's more of a Spanish Western, and my mama loves it the best. She just loves that. And then he's got a few more after that. I mean, that might be why his arms are hurting. All that writing he's done. So anyways, this next book is very near and dear to me. I told Dad, I said, you need, because he can really, my dad has a kid mind at heart. Growing up in the mountains, he watched his brother die of double pneumonia at 1 year old. He was 1 year old. And my dad was, I think, around 8, 9, or 10, something like that. And I may have mentioned this before in one of my other videos, but living up there was hard. They lived up in the North Carolina mountains. He was born in the 40s. They lived in a little old, I'll put up a picture of what they lived in. They did not have running water. I don't think they had running water in their house. They did not have restroom in their house. That's how bad poor they were. They had to keep guns next to the door because they had bear or bar, how they'd call it. A bar might be out on the porch, and or a bobcat or a cougar, a painter is what they'd say. It would be the mountain lingo or lingo of it, painter, and they mean panther. So a lot of times bobcat have smelled where they cooked the ham and the bacon for breakfast, and it, you know, and it try to come down that wood stove pipe from the roof. And so, and you know, we still have, in some places in America here, we still have our wildlife. And we can't have our guns took away. If we, and I know that's a lot of people in other countries don't understand that. We still have, you know, some people live in grizzly country. We have black bear around here, even down here in South Carolina. We have wild hogs. We've just this week had wild hogs attacking horses and all. And these things will kill you. There was one that killed just half a month ago. It was reported on the news that a bunch of wild hogs killed an elderly woman outside her house. It was a whole different world living up there in those mountains, Appalachian Mountains, south. And it was in the western North Carolina mountains, near Mount Mitchell, Black Mountain, Grandfather Mountain, and they were sort of a world. They're sort of a world away from everybody because you have to go up that mountain just to get to where the little areas are that they live, and there's more mountains up there. Adventures of the Kim Thickets, and how this got started was I told Dad, I said, you know, they've got where the red fern grows for the Ozarks. A kid growing up in the Ozarks. I said they have the Mark Twain, Huckleberry Finn, and Tom Sawyer for the Mississippi area. I said, but Dad, I don't think they have any adventures of Appalachian kids. So this is why he wrote the Adventures of the Kim Thickets. And what this is based on his adventures. The things that happened to him and his friends and his family, brothers and sisters and friends and everything. And the names are changed to protect any of the innocents, like how Dad says. And it is some fiction, some truth. He's not going to tell you what's fiction, what's truth. But it gives you the flavor of living up there in the Appalachian Mountains. Okay. He also has an afterword in here. Oh, here's the picture. Here's a picture of his little house, little shack. It's like a clapboard type house that they grew up in. And there was, I think, let's see, 8 or 12 of them. I'm not certain. And see, the wind would blow through that. And the baby got uncovered, and that's how it died of double pneumonia. It was a preemie. Well, and it always stayed kind of malnourished because they only got 1 quart of milk a week for that whole family. So it was rough. Now there are some little pretty little pictures in amongst it. You can see that. I don't know. Did you see that? I'm sorry. It's like a lot of short stories. Each chapter is like a short story, you know. We got little bees. I'm sorry. I'm just going through it so quick because I don't know if it's... There we go. And we got the raccoon. And my daughter drew that. And I drew that hound dog. Some flying squirrels. A pig. I didn't draw that one. Mason jar. Poison ivy. You can imagine that little tail right there. There's the clothesline. There's a rabbit trap. Little wooden rabbit trap. Bobcat. There was another one too. There's a bull. This one I drew. I drew that one. That is called ramps. That is a ramp plant. And you'll learn what ramps are in this book. This is my dad. That's my dad. And I'm going to go ahead. Oh, and it has some pictures. That's what surprised me. I didn't tell him I'll put these pictures in his book. But it has pictures of their house, him playing ball, and they're not easy to see. You know how these old pictures are. And there's him as my dad as a little baby, young baby. And you can tell how skinny they are. And so that's a little bit about my dad and growing up. And this is what this is. These two, and let me read you the back and I'll give you a little bit more information. Kim, let me get some drink. I'm getting a little, if I don't let it go down the wrong way, I can't drink anything without it going down the wrong way. Okay, Kim Pogge and Winky McGee are the two main characters in this book. Kim Pogge and Winky McGee are two preteen North Carolina mountain boys that are way too young to be drafted into the Army while World War II was going on. Kim is a quick-witted 5'5" blonde, tasseled-haired individual with blue eyes and is fairly muscular. Winky is a tall, lanky, brown-haired, brown-eyed, 5'9" individual who is in a constant need of a haircut. He is also very superstitious. Winky gets his name after his grandpop, Winky McGee. Resources are hard to come by during this trying time in America's history. The boys must invent their own games and entertainment, of which lead them into all sorts of crazy, humorous, and sometimes serious adventures. Winky is a dead shot with marbles. Kim likes to solve mysteries. However, their plots are always in danger of being revealed by Kim's big sister, Janine. But as their fun adventures go on, they find themselves in a life or death situation. So the last part of this will be a very serious situation that they find themselves in. But you get to know them on their adventures day by day. Listen to some of these chapter stories. The Coon Hunt, Crossing the Creek, Smoking Grapevines, Schoolhouse Chocolate, Catching Flying Squirrels, There Ain't No Handle, Rose Bushes and Wooden Wagons, Bad Luck and Witches, Homebrew, Kick the Can and Fleas, Hornets and Indians, Slingshots and Poison Ivy, Snowballs, Principals and Police Chiefs, Corn Cobs, Apples and Rotten Eggs, Green Tobacco Worms and Dogs, Punk Knots and Clotheslines, Apple Butter and Yellow Jackets, Baseball and Arrowheads, Setting Rabbit Gums, The Dying Woman, Wasps and Outhouses, Full Moons and Trains, Bullying Girls, Tree Roots and Anger, Thunder Lizards, The Legend of Finn Ogle, Wild Indians and Electric Fences, Burning Waters, Wowzers, Wampus, Cats, and Scannabeast, Nova Scotias, An Official Cold Remedy, Moonlight, Moonshine, and Murder, The Face in the Window. And then we have an afterword, which is a little short rundown of Appalachian Mountain Life. And this is where Dad gets serious, and he actually tells you, the reader, what it was like as a child growing up in the Appalachian Mountains, how hard it was, and they had to be creative because they didn't have anything, no money, nothing, and how they were able to live through that and still be a child and still be able to have fun and enjoy. And it's a part of America. It's a part of what this generation that is in their 70s and 80s lived. This is what they lived. And it's dying with them. Just like, you know how you want recipes from your grandmother and you never get around to getting it. Now my grandmother, my mom's mom, my nanny, I could never get out of her was just a cup of this or a handful of that, and then she'd say, well, the secret to she had famous chicken and dumplings. She was famous for chicken dumplings, and all I could get out of her about them chicken dumplings was a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And the secret was canned cream. That's all I got. I'm going to read The Coon Hunt, the first chapter. And this is the picture. All right, The Coon Hunt. Kim, Puggy, and Winky, let me tell you something too. Mark Twain was famous for writing the way people talked. A lot of people have a hard time. I noticed somebody had said something on Amazon about how hard it was to read for them, because I guess because they're not used to reading the way people talk, their accent. Well, this is how these are wrote. Whenever you see it when they're talking, it's wrote the way I would say it. Where you hear me say something in Southern drawl, this is how it's going to be wrote. Okay. Kim Poggy and Winky McGee sat on a chestnut pole, sighing and flipping wood chips at ants. Ants. They'd say ants. The pole was held in a cross brace buried in the ground. This held the pole steady to make crosscut sawing easier. Kim was bored. I tell you, Winky, they just ain't nothing to do in these here mountains. If I don't get to have some fun soon, I'll just go plumb crazy. Winky agreed. That's for dead burn sure, Kim. I figure that I'm as intelligent as the next feller, but I ain't thought of nothing to do neither. Bullseye, Kim said. Got that in dead center. Then he spat on the ground, eyeing Winky sideways to see if there was any reaction. Spitting was known to be pure sign of manhood. Winky paid no attention. He screwed up his face in concentration. All of a sudden, Winky's mouth fell open. Hey! That's it, Kim. I got a surefire idea now. Kim stared at Winky. Yeah, I just hope it don't turn out like the last great idea you had, Winky gushed. Never mind that. How was I to know that old Farmer Willis done bought a mean old bull and put him in that pasture with his cows? Anyway, all we lost was a couple of cane poles. Seems to me that one of us got his hip pockets torn off by that old bull's horns, Kim stated. Ma couldn't mend 'em no ways, Winky responded. What if I was to say let's go a coon hunting? Winky waited and grinned. Now how in the blazes we gonna go coon hunting? Winky, we ain't got no coon dogs. That's right, Kim, but my grandpap does. Kim started to get interested. How many, Winky? How many dogs he got? Just one, Winky tattered. But Grandpap says that old Sale, that's the dog's name, Grandpap says that old Sale used to be the Champagne coon dog in these hills. He said he named the dog that 'cause he always sailed right in on them coons the minute they shook 'em out of the tree. Old Sale is a blue-tick hound, Winky added, as if that settled it. Kim puckered up and spat and said, Well, what we're waiting for, Winky? Let's get a going. Grandpap raised his hand to his ear. Eh? What's that? What's that you saying? Did you say moon? Yep's supposed to be a full moon night. He yawned as he started to say something, but his head gradually dropped and dozed off. It's no use, Winky said, disgusted. He just can't hear 'tall. We ain't never going to get permission this way, Kim said. I ain't far doing wrong, but I'd just as soon go hunting anyways. Where does your grandpap keep his dog? Under the porch, Winky revealed. Old Sal sleeps under the porch. Good grief, Kim looked at that mangy flea bag. That old dog's as old as your grandpap, Winky insisted. He's a little old, but was Champagne. Kim gave in. Might as well go on and try 'em out, I guess. Winky whistled and trotted toward the woods. Hey, Sal, coon, sick 'em, coon. That old dog took off into the woods, smelling the ground, his tail whipping back and forth. Go, boy, get 'em, Sal, coon, sick 'em, coon. Just as they came up to the creek, old Sal bawled out a deep, ooh, ooh. That's it. He's on 'em. He's after a coon, Kim. Yeah, I guess you're right, Wink. Hooey! Get 'em, boys. Sick 'em, Sal. Both boys started yelling encouragement to old Sal. Sal answered. It wasn't long before the tone of the dog's baying changed to short chopping barks. That's it. He's treed. Get 'em, Sal. Go, boy. The boys ran down the creek bank. There, Kim, under the creek bank. He's treed that old coon in that hole, Kim. The dog barked, growled, and dug at the dirt. He bit at the roots, trying to get at the coon. How's we going to get that coon out of that there hole? Winky asked. Who said we had to get him out, Wink? Well, old Sal's a-digging. He's going to get that old coon out himself, Kim answered. Yeah, Winky added as they both watched Sal make the dirt fly. Won't be too long now, Kim grinned. Sick 'em, Sal. Coon! The hole's opening was large enough now that you could see the coon's beady eyes shine inside. And emboldened, Sal grabbed that old coon and dragged him out into the light where the boys had a better look at that coon. That ain't no coon, Winky screamed. It's a stinking polecat. Skunk! Shrieked Kim at practically exact same moment. Ooh, that stinks. Ooh! Winky struggled to talk between gags. He got us. He got us good, old Sal whined, looking at the skunk. Yeah, coon dog, huh? Dang skunk dog. The skunk's little black beady eyes stared back at him. Oh no, not again. Kim gagged, barely holding back dry heaves. Old Sal decided to leave the area. The two boys flew past the old dog. They were picking their feet up and setting them down. The skunk went on about his business. Skunk business. Mama ain't gonna like this, Kim moaned. Winky shook his head. Guess coon hunting ain't as much fun as I thought, Kim. The boys never made it past the front porch swing. Get to the barn, Kim's mom yelled. Woo! Don't you boys know the difference betwixt a coon and a polecat? Yeah, we do, the boys chimed in, but old Sal don't. They were banished to the barn where they tried to get comfortable. You sure stink, Kim complained to Wink. You stink worse, Winky returned. Then he suddenly stiffened. Kim, don't move. Oh no. Huh, what's the matter? Kim said sleepily. Don't move, Wink insisted. I just saw something over there by the wall. It's black and white. Kim raised up, wide awake now. Yeah, I see it too. It's a skunk, Wink. But Winky was gone. However, it didn't take long for Kim to catch up with him, though. Whoa, Wink, hold up. Where are we going to sleep now, Kim? Ain't but one place left, Wink, under Grandpap's porch. Guess we ain't gonna get much sleep tonight, Wink sighed. Kim's sister's black and white cat was still hunting mice in the barn. And that old skunk over at the creek was ready, willing, and able to have him some more fun. Ma said that tomorrow we had to take a tomato juice bath in that old number 2 wash tub. It's supposed to kill the smell. I don't believe it, Kim said. Ain't nothing can kill that smell, Winky agreed. That's sure some powerful smell. How skunks can stand it is a mystery to me. Now that is the first chapter of Adventures of the Kim Thickets. And that is the mountain lingo that you hear me, it's actually written that way. So when you read it, you're actually getting a feel of the people that you're reading about. And that's the only, and you know, Mark Twain knew that that's not really, how do you portray people that are so different from people like in regular towns up north, or, you know, where people don't have an accent and they haven't seen these people that live out in the woods and in the mountains and stuff, and they have a whole different way of life and the way they talk. And it's in one big country. We have all kinds of different types of people, the accents and stuff that they have learned to talk. A lot of this come from the Scotch Irish that come over from Europe. How are you going to really get the feel of the situation? The accents, the way that people talk, the way that, when Huckleberry Finn was a black man and a young boy on a river raft, and the black man had a lingo, the way that he talked and the way the boy talked, and to get the flavor of the Mississippi in that area, you had to have that included in there. And a lot of people didn't like the fact that he wrote that way, and that, oh, it's not right English, it's not proper English, and everything should be just right. Look, it really made his book stand out. And see, that's why I told my dad, I said, you got to write in the way that people speak, because the mountain people, that's one thing that's a dying thing, is the way that their accent and their lingo is. Please check out my dad's books. I hope you found one in these 3 that you would like to read. All of these are, this one especially, if you're a homeschooling person, your kids would love it. They'll love all of them because they're all appropriate. There's nothing inappropriate. Any bad situation, adult situation, or any cursing or anything like that. It's, it's hard to find those. And if that's the kind of books you want, and you know someone for Christmas would like to have these, just head on over there to Amazon. Pick up a book. Pick up all three if you want to have the collection of them. Just look them all three up. I think you'll love them. I love them. I really loved getting these out there for him because he worked all his life really hard. Really hard. He was a brick mason, stone mason. And he worked from a 11-year-old boy as a brick mason, stone mason. Laboring and stuff, and moved down here because, excuse me, the North Carolina mountains gets too cold a lot of times to have a steady job as a mason. That's why a lot of them. His daddy was a jack of all trades. He worked for the railroad when it come through up there, blowing out the dynamiting the logs and the trees after they cut them to get the train to come through. Clinchfield Railroad, I do believe, is the name of it. Lots of adventures that my dad went on, and I hope you go and read them, and please leave us a review. I'm so wanting to hear what people think about my dad's stories. I love to hear what they feel like, and you may not have grew up in these eras at all, but they may be very thrilling to you, very interesting to learn about other times. Reading is great because you can escape and go into another place, another time. It's like time travel, and a little bit of a respite away from things. So pick one up, pick all three up. If you do, I'll humbly thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please leave a message for my dad. If any of these touch you in the way that if they're special to you, please leave me a comment below, and I will read them to him, let him hear it. I'll try to get the rest of his books on there, but in the middle of diamond painting and vlogging and live, it's hard to edit a book at the same time. So I've got 3 books of his that's sitting there waiting, and probably 4. There may be even 5. He's just went to town writing books, and he's so excited about them. He's so wanting people to read them, and was hoping that people would enjoy them. And he would ask me all the time. He's gotten to where he doesn't ask me anymore as much, but has any more people read the book and commented, or anybody else talk about my books or anything? So it's something that he's left a legacy with, that not just his brick and block and stone masonry and buildings and stuff out here that'll be here long after he's gone. His books hopefully will be here, and his wonderful imagination is in them. So I hope you've enjoyed this. It may be a little long. I didn't think about that I was going to read a little bit of them, but I hope I read enough to let you see how his writing is going to be, and that it is going to go just right off the bat. You're into the character's revealed to you, and you know what you're in for, and so you kind of say, okay, I've just got to change. I've just got to turn the page. Keep going. So please let me know how you think about it, and thank you for watching. I hope your Christmas season is just going great. And if you know anyone that loves to have books, or if you can't think of what to get somebody, get them the books. They may not have read before, may not be a reader, but hey, let them read. Say, hey, look, just read the first 2 chapters and see if you like it. And you never know. They may love it. They may not. But it's still a gift. It's the thought that counts. So, y'all have a good rest of your weekend.